Speaking of working together, let's talk to Danny about the marketing and consulting business and the way that's changed, and especially the impact of technology even in that service industry and what that means in terms of your ability to attract young people and the difference they make in filling critical positions for you, even in an industry that people don't think of as requiring those kind of technical skills.
It's an excellent point. I mean, the world has changed dramatically over the last 20 years. The way that we communicate, the way that we engage, the way that we share information has changed significantly over the last 20 years. I'll give you a couple of data points. In November, we reached the point where in this planet, 3 billion people are now accessing the internet. In September, we reached the point where there are 3.6 billion mobile users. That's 50% of the world's population. We are now a much more connected world than we have ever been, and that trend will only continue. The folks that are communicating are also different too. We are a much more diverse society than we used to be. So we have to be able to make sure that we are able to leverage all of the forms of communication, all the forms of technology to be able to engage and communicate and inspire, particularly young people. You know, it's interesting, I call the generation that's out there today, I call them Generation D, because they are the digital generation. They're no longer the folks that are the analog workforce of the past. They are now the digital workforce of today and tomorrow, and they're able to think differently than we do even, and our parents do. Has anybody ever seen like their grandparent trying to figure out Facebook? It's kind of comical, isn't it? For young people today, a 3-year-old can pick up a tablet and figure out how to use it within minutes. The world has changed. You know, someone who's turning 18 in the year 2015 was born in 1997. In 1997 was when we first saw AOL Instant Messenger. It was when we first saw Hotmail. It's when we first used the term blogging in 1997. The year later was when Google was launched. So the people that are turning 18 this year have never, ever seen a day without technology being at the forefront of virtually everything that we do in terms of the way we communicate. So that's something that's essential, and that's only going to continue to change. So young people are vital to making sure that, particularly in my industry, in the communications world, that we need to make sure that they remain engaged and leading and not just waiting for the world to follow. They need to be the leaders of the world.
You know, let me just stick with Danny for a minute. One of the frustrations that I've always had is that we're having a hard time with the whole youth employment movement, I think, in taking it in the business community from a philanthropic activity to part of an integrated business strategy that benefits the business. And you've been successful at that. Maybe it's because you realize you need the skills of young people, and that's allowed you to make that connection. But what advice do you have for either people here who are from the business community, people who are engaging the business community to try to get more opportunities for young people, on how do you take the youth employment strategy and integrate it into the business strategy?
Well, I'll be honest with you. There was a time, not that long ago, I was a little bit concerned. I was worried that this generation was sort of the, hand them a trophy for just showing up generation. They thought it was all about just feeling good, and they were sort of the spoiled generation. I found that that's not necessarily the case. I found that many of them understand the fact that good enough is not enough. I think that they've understood that it's not enough to go through school and get their education. They understand that it is today. It's no longer K through 12 or higher ed. Now it's K through infinity. They have to be engaged in lifelong learning. I think they understand the fact that now we've gotten to the point where many of them have lived through the Great Recession, and that's given them some grit. That's given them some tenacity, some toughness to them. I think we need to be able to leverage that. These folks the young people today have a level of flexibility and adaptability that many of our generation and the previous generations never had to deal with. Many folks in our generation and previous generations were able to go to a job and stay there for many, many, many years, in many cases throughout their professional lifetimes. Young people nowadays don't know that they will go through 6 to 8 jobs throughout their professional career. And in every single job, they need to be flexible, adaptable, agile, and nimble to meet the needs of their employers and their customers, and they sort of get that almost in their DNA, and that's something we need to be able to leverage and take advantage of, and make sure that we sort of inculcate that desire to learn and take risk in our young people. I think those are the young people that I hire, the young people that I work with. These are young people that inspire me as well as my colleagues and my customers.
So we all know that businesses need young people, especially if they're going to continue to be relevant in this 21st century economy. The question, if you're in manufacturing, it would seem to me, Darlene, is do young people want to go into manufacturing? And so many people, when you first hear about the idea of hiring young people in manufacturing, is their concern is about safety and whether it's safe for youth to be involved in that kind of an activity. What are the barriers that you've faced, and what are the kind of things that you've done to try to make precision manufacturing, in your case, more attractive to young people, and what advice can you give to people here?
Well, again, I think safety is in everybody's mind every day, every place, no matter where you work. But the funny thing is, safety creates a fear in us instead of an understanding. And just to give a little fact, there's a DART rate, which is the days away from work due to illness or injury. And in our industry, precision machining, it's 4.9. If the government is 4.2, the heavy fab metals is 5.7. So in my industry, we're equally away from the heavy fab as we are from the government. So would you say it's safer to work for the government? Maybe, maybe not. But anyway, it just proves that we are a safe place. And I'm a mom, and my son has worked for me for 20 years. Would I put my son in harm's way? My grandson is going to work for me this summer. Our shops are bright, clean, spotless. You could almost eat off the floors. But the problem is, again, the perception. So we, again, have to get these people in and show them what we're all about, especially the counselors and the parents and the school teachers, so that they see what we're all about. The other thing is, we absolutely manage risk every day. And for example, I belong to our National Precision Machining Association, and we actually had Dr. Michaels come in and speak to our group. He's the director of OSHA. Now, if we were really putting people at risk in our business, do you think we'd ask the director of OSHA, went and give them all our names and numbers and addresses? I don't think so. And besides, we're in the business of making parts to make your life better. We make parts for airspace, for aerospace, for the planes you fly in, for the food that you eat. So we certainly would never put any of our people in harm's way. They're our biggest asset.
Well, I know that for all of your efforts, you have found it difficult at times to find new young employees in particular. Tell us about Right Skills now that you started, because I think that was an intriguing way, and I think it's instructive for others.
Well, Right Skills Now is a fast-track training program it's 24 weeks, and it really was a great collaboration between NAM, National Association of Manufacturing, NIMS, the credentialing, and ACT, along with community college in Minnesota. I had actually co-chaired the High Tech Education Committee for the Committee on Jobs and Competitiveness that Jeff Emmel chaired for President Obama. And through that association was able to create this program, which I'm really pleased to say is now in over 35 different areas. And from that collaboration was really the partnership. I mean, that was the key. And it was us, again, businesses going out to the schools and saying, this is what we need. What you're teaching, we don't do anymore. We haven't done that for 20 years. This is the type of equipment we have. This is the kind of geometry skills we need, that type of thing. And the schools were really excited to collaborate with us because, again, they're going to graduate more students. They're going to get those students placed. And I'm happy to say almost every student in these classes, I think it's a 98.9% graduation rate, have jobs before they graduate. So it's all about collaboration, as we've heard about today.
Now, I know that you got a lot of support from the community colleges you worked with in your home state. As you've taken it to other states, have you gotten that same kind of support?
once we sit down with the school and really go through the program, and we have them talk to the other colleges, which really do, or community colleges or tech schools, and have them share their experiences, and that's the key, because they're talking together on their levels.
Now, Danny, let's go to you, because you have done so much with minority institutions and the historically black colleges, and you've had such success. You might want to talk about that experience, because I know you found that it's been very beneficial.
It's been wonderful. I think, one of the things that I support the Department of Energy's efforts to bring interns into a summer internship program from minority serving institutions from all over the country, and they're doing wonderful work. The other hat that I wear, in addition to a business owner, is the fact that I chair the workforce board for the great Commonwealth of Virginia. That's given us the opportunity to interact with localities throughout the state, working with young people that are finding it difficult to get into a career, get into career pathways. The partnership that Darlene was talking about is instrumental. It's essential. It's vital to be able to work with public sector, private sector, academic institutions, as well as nonprofit groups that are doing wonderful work. It's an all-hands-on-deck effort to make sure that we're doing the right thing to connect what Secretary Perez was talking about, connecting those that are looking for a job with employers that are looking for the right talent. The U.S. Chamber has done a wonderful job in making sure that we're promoting talent pipeline management as a concept. Long gone are the days where we can just hope that the academic institutions are turning out the right skills and talent. Those days are long gone. Today, we have to make sure that we're operating lean and mean, that we are a well-honed machine, and that we are looking to business to provide the workforce system with the information that they need in terms of their requirements, in terms of the skills and credentials that they're looking for. And the public sector and academic institutions need to be listening every single minute to make sure that they're delivering that talent requirement that's coming from the private sector. Partnerships are key, and we're making it happen at the local level, at the regional level, at the state level, and with the help of the U.S. Chamber at the national level, I'm convinced that we can get there.
Great lead-in into my closing, which is to just once again plug our white paper, because it is businesses' involvement that can really drive the kind of success we're looking for in terms of enhancing youth employment. On page 22, our employer checklist. If you're working with employers, you are an employer. The 5 essential elements. Connect your youth employment strategy to your business strategy. Find the right partner to source youth talent. Review your policies that pose barriers in your own company to youth hiring. Prioritize soft skills development. And measure and continuously improve your youth employment strategy. Together, partnering, we can finally get our hands around youth employment and start to see the kind of growth and opportunity for young people that we want in this country. Thank you for being so attentive. We appreciate it.
Thank you.